Doing seed and early, we're not seeing a ton, but I am seeing, I also see some entrepreneurs who haven't sort of accepted new reality. They want, $10 million valuation on seed stage companies, which just isn't going to happen. And you are seeing also much more structured deals get done. People look and they go, well, Airbnb got $1 billion. I'm like, yeah, but did you read the fine print? TPG got 40% warrant coverage. Like these are, the valuations aren't real if you actually understood the structure behind many of them. So I think they're down, and I think they're significantly down, particularly for business to consumer companies. Those are getting hit the hardest from what I've seen in the late stage. Something we'll see in the real estate world and the fintech world. I think real estate is people's approach to where they live or work is going to change profoundly. So I think you'll see a move away from cities because Morgan Stanley no longer makes you go into the office every day. And during a pandemic, Manhattan's probably the last place on the entire planet I want to be. So, and you're already seeing this in terms of commercial real estate, people not paying their rent as retail stores close, et cetera. So I think that will change both the nature of what tools and software or support people need to enable remote work beyond Zoom and whatever sort of primitive collaboration tools we have. Sadly, I also think as you get a more distributed workforce and more distributed processes, unfortunately, that also means that the people who conduct fraud for a living, that will increase. So you'll see a big rise in terms of new fraud vectors that we haven't even thought about. What are other societal trends I see that, there are other things I see that aren't necessarily actionable from an investment perspective, but I think another thing that I look at, I said this earlier in the context of enterprise, but I think this is going to be true in the consumer space. With 30% unemployment, people may have missed it, but in the United Kingdom last week, the Bank of England made a rather momentous statement. They said that the GDP in the UK was going to be down 15% for 2020. And to put that into perspective, that is the biggest decline in GDP in the United Kingdom since 1708.
Wow.
Not 1933, since 1708.
Wow.
That's pretty staggering. So I think you will have much more of, since consumer spending in the US and Europe drives 66% of GDP, that's profound. So I think you will see much more of a consumer, not what do I want, but what do I need? And that has enormous impact across the economy, whether it's, so a friend of mine is senior at a shoe company that sells largely to mom and pop stores. That shoe company is predicting that 70% of their stores who they distribute to are going to go out of business. So, do you start a company that's doing marketing for small businesses? Probably not a good place to be right now, right? So, I realize, you can only focus on what you control, but you have to start up here and then think about what some of the dominoes are going to look like down the line as you start to, if you're thinking about a new company or thinking about taking a slight right turn of where you've been or what have you. I urge people to take a more system level approach to how they think about their business than people have for the last 20 years in Silicon Valley or anywhere. I think that unfortunately the benefit of being old is that this is not my first down cycle, although this may be the first down cycle that's this bad I've seen. But really great companies have been started in previous down cycles, ranging from LinkedIn, Facebook, Slack. I mean, some really terrific companies that are now iconic names were founded in down cycles. So and if anything, although this will sound convenient as somebody on the labor versus capital side of the equation, I suppose the capital side is that, a lack of resources typically makes people much smarter. You know, the corollary to that is too much money makes you stupid, and God knows there was way too much money in a lot of like pretty marginal ideas. So I actually think if you are able to find something compelling to work on, I think you stand a much better chance of building a significant business, because you know you're going to have to survive it, and it actually ends up being a really good time to start something.